A bunch of new spots opened up here, so let's check them out and crush their dreams.
Except no one coming from the south.
I was out for a run and saw donuts in a window, which is all it takes to get a fat fuck like me to check out your establishment. Also, shout out to the guy who saw me running, rolled down his window, and yelled, "Run, fat ass!" That would hurt a lot of people's feelings, but I stopped feeling things around 2008, so for me, that was just free motivation. I will keep running. Thank you, sir. Anyway, Rogue Roundabout is some sort of tap house / coffee shop / restaurant, and from a consumer standpoint, my experience was about as much of a disaster as you can imagine. I was chatting with the owner over by the case that contained turnovers, donuts, and bagels. Now let me pause for a moment and ask you, the viewer, what would be the worst possible answer to the question, where do you get your baked goods from? This motherfucker said Walmart. Specifically, he said, the turnovers are from Walmart, the donuts are from a local bakery. The bagels he didn't say, so I have to assume they are apparently from somewhere that is somehow more embarrassing than Walmart. Here's a free piece of advice to any of you out there who have dreams of one day opening a restaurant. If you are actually reselling food that you got at Walmart and a customer asks, just fucking lie. Because unless the truth is that you found your food on the side of a road, there is literally nothing worse that you can say to a customer than fucking Walmart. But things kept getting weirder because I ordered an iced latte from the coffee stand and the owner started steaming the milk for an iced latte. No, dude, the reason you warm up the milk for a latte or cappuccino is for serving it hot. This is a cold drink. You're warming up something just for it to be cooled down when you pour it in, and it melts the ice and waters everything down. This is on par with someone microwaving your ice cream. I got a chicken salad sandwich, but for some reason they serve it open-faced, which just feels like you're shorting me one of my 2 pieces of bread. It was pretty good, but since I can't rule out that the chicken salad came from Walmart, I can't give it a score. Actually, I can't rate this restaurant at all. They just opened, they're selling food they picked up at Walmart, the owner doesn't know how to make coffee, and they gave me half of a sandwich. I'll check back in on them down the road and see if they're even a real restaurant. Incomplete out of 10.
Except no one coming from the south.
Los Gallos Tacqueria y Birria is another Mexican truck in the area, and they're pretty decent. I got a barbacoa torta, and I will reiterate that if you aren't getting tortas whenever possible, you're missing out. I will die on the hill that tacos are overrated, idiotic, and people only get them because it's all they know. So, like when a small child brings you a mud pie, you look at it and go, oh, look what you made. Yum, it's great. Stop feeding into the idea that 3 cents worth of masa and a splash of water is an acceptable food delivery mechanism, even though it falls apart and you end up catching most of it and shoveling it into your mouth like a goddamn ape. Where was I? Oh yeah, this place leans a little bit more authentic Mexican than Tex-Mex. So among your meat options, you can choose beef head, pork stomach, or goat face. One of those I made up, but you probably can't guess which. Solid Mexican though, 7 out of 10.
Coming from the south.
Time to review some Italian, so let me get my torture implements ready. Actually, Pasta Grill wasn't terrible. In fact, it beats the poopy pants off of Verona, which is, hand to God, the most offensively bad Italian I've ever had in my life. But don't get too cocky, Pasta Grill, because while I appreciate that you can make chicken cutlets, the thing about them is that you have to actually season them. Salt, pepper, Italian parsley, a little parm mixed into the breading. Pasta Grill only knows one flavoring ingredient, garlic. And while I love garlicky food, when it's all you can actually taste, it can't stand on its own legs. You need other spices and seasonings to create a bouquet of flavor on the palate. Not offensively bad, but I'll just stick to making my own Italian at home. 5 out of 10.
Coming from the south.
Similar to Italian, Chinese takeout is something that just doesn't seem to translate here in the South. I've had experiences that range from okay to pretty terrible, but somehow Jade China was even worse. Let's start with the good. They give you an unbelievable amount of food. As in, they hand you your bag and for a moment you think it might contain a bowling ball. Okay, now let's start with the bad, because when you get home you can just take that bag and throw it right in the fucking garbage. This wasn't just bad, it was practically inedible. We got the pork lo mein and the sesame chicken lunches. To say the sesame chicken was too sweet does not even come close to doing it justice. Imagine little candy apples, but replace the apples with sugar cubes and you're getting closer. Oh, and they have the classic southern version of fried rice, where they ignore all of the ingredients that go into a fried rice and just give you gummy rice drowned in soy sauce. We got about 3 bites into the pork lo mein and just threw it away and made a doctor's appointment. It was salty to the point of it being an inedible. Chinese takeout can genuinely be amazing with a spectrum of flavors that range from sweet, salty, spicy, savory, garlicky. Jade China only knows sweet and salty, and they get there by drowning food in corn syrup and soy sauce. They are not worth yours or anyone else's time. 2 out of 10.
Coming from the south, 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 south.
I almost feel bad for reviewing this place, but it seems like a mainstay of the local community. In fact, recently an Insomniac Cookies opened up, and the local Noisy Bitch Club on Facebook screeched about how unnecessary they were, and no one should ever go there because they'll only take away business from Kassi's cookies. So I get in line, and the people in front of me consisted of a gaggle of 8 young women, all wearing evening gowns and snapping photos of themselves and cookies and coffee drinks and everything. This was at 1 o'clock on a Thursday, so I have no idea what that was all about, but I hope whatever it was, they had fun. But more importantly, I couldn't help but feel like this place just wasn't made for me. Technically, they make baked goods, but they seem to be for more of the younger female who poses in front of angel wings spray painted on walls for Instagram crowd than a curmudgeon with more than a little bit of gray in his beard. I get some cookies for me and the wife, and we both agree that they're pretty meh. Decent coffee though, 5 out of 10.
Coming from the south, 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 south.
Rong Chinese is another local abomination to Chinese takeout. This stuff isn't even close to being as offensive as Jade China, but it is still well short of what you could get in just about any major US city. I genuinely don't understand how there are so many Chinese places here and how none of them can manage to make food taste like anything other than sodium and corn syrup, but it's absolutely atrocious. 4 out of 10.
Coming from the south, 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 south.
To be fair and transparent, this review is going to border on being another incomplete because I only got coffee here, but you're about to find out why. I was looking for places I'd never been and stumbled upon Streetside Creperies. There were 2 employees working and no other customers. I ordered my coffee and asked them if they had any recommendations for a future visit to get breakfast or brunch. Their answer was complete and total indifference, like they genuinely didn't care if I ever came back again. Now don't get me wrong, I don't expect every minimum wage lackey to be as filled with excitement and investment in the business as the owner, but whatever doesn't reflect well on the establishment. This is a question I ask people a lot because I'm interested in getting insight on what to order, but it's also a question I've answered many times when I was in their situation, and I found that as a server, being able to talk about what I'm serving with a customer was an extremely valuable tool for developing a rapport with them. And hell, there have been multiple times where the employee answers me by saying, "Look, I've been working here a while and I'm just kinda over the food." And that's fine and totally understandable, but being unable to muster any sort of interest in a customer means I won't be returning. Also, their coffee is trash, 2 out of 10.
Coming from the south, 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 south.
I said before that Kassi's Cookies just didn't seem like a place for me. This was exacerbated when I visited BMB Creations Bakery, because this is a place for me. So I walk in and the first thing I see is a giant oven that looked like the ones from pizza shops I visited as a kid. The second thing I see is a display case filled with scones, pastries, kolaches, and other delicious looking assorted baked goods. The third thing I see is baskets filled with freshly baked baguettes. Hell yeah. So I get their Saturday special, which is a Chicago-style beef sandwich dipped in gravy and topped with giardiniera, along with some other assorted goodies. The sandwich was pretty decent, though I'm biased towards the Philadelphia version of it, which uses more herbs in the jus. But the star of the show was the sourdough bread it came on. After years of getting bread from the supermarket, this felt like I was tasting real bread for the first time again. The other baked goods were fucking awesome, and I can't wait to go back to this place again. 8 out of 10.
Coming from the south, 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 south.
Buffalo Wild Wings is a restaurant that you go to when it's half-price wing night or half-price boneless wing night, because if you go there any other time, why? Are you some sort of weirdo? You should really be on some, if not all, government watch lists. One time we went to B-Dubs and were treated to the sound of a middle-aged married couple trying to pick up a woman in her 60s for some swinging action. That was pretty funny. Anyway, Buffalo Wild Wings should change their name to Ross's Sauces, because they're the real reason they're in business, because the chicken is dreadful. It's actually a pretty ingenious business strategy if you think about it. Innovation is hard, but there are always new sauces to try, and having hundreds of them that you can bring in and out of rotation seems comparatively easy. You don't even have to invent them yourself, just wait for something to start trending online and get cracking on development. People start discovering lemon pepper wings, make your own. Mike's Hot Honey is wildly popular, get on it. My only real complaint with B-Dubs is the consistency. Sometimes you get decent to average wings, and sometimes it's like they were deep fried on the sun. Overall though, 5 out of 10, you could do worse. And speaking of worse,
we have such sights to show you.
well, we're finally here. Let me say from the jump that in a previous video I said Verona Italian Restaurant was worse than Olive Garden, and despite what you're about to hear, that statement still stands. Oh lord, was it ever close. We went to Olive Garden for lunch to get the unlimited soup, salad, and breadsticks. I also ordered the unlimited dipping sauce for the breadsticks because I'm a complete masochist. This Olive Garden just opened up here, so we should try and be generous and understanding with the staff.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's...
Well, the food has arrived, or at least some of it. We got our salad and breadsticks and my wife got her soup. Apparently they're out of the chicken gnocchi, but they're making more. I agree to the zuppa toscana for now. No sign of the dipping sauce.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's...
Another 15 minutes and nothing has changed. I'm getting annoyed and our server is going from table to table while ignoring us.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's...
Nothing has changed. Our server still hasn't come by. I've moved beyond annoyed and reached acceptance and even humor. I start to think, could the families of Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin sue the Olive Garden? I mean, the business really wouldn't exist without them. It's hilarious how atrocious this experience is.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's...
Another server brings out my zuppa toscana. We haven't seen our server. I tell them about the dipping sauce we ordered but never got. The soup is beyond disgusting. Potatoes are probably the most forgiving food that exists. There's almost nothing you can do to them to make them inedible. Olive Garden found a way. They're undercooked, cut 2 thick pieces of potato, and they taste like dirt. I haven't gotten soup I can eat, haven't eaten the breadsticks because I'm still waiting for a dipping sauce, and I wasn't all that interested in the salad to begin with. So we're 1 hour into an all-you-can-eat meal, and I haven't eaten anything. Our server finally came back. She did the thing that really terrible servers do where they try to pin the blame on the kitchen. If any servers ever see this, don't do that. You are part of a team, and customers having a bad experience don't care whose fault it is. Just apologize, even if it isn't personally your fault. This was moot anyway because you can't ignore a table for an hour and act like you were still doing a great job. She immediately brings me a bowl of the chicken soup, the dipping sauce, and more breadsticks. I'm pretty sure she just forgot. The chicken and gnocchi soup was disgusting. It did indeed taste like something the kitchen just threw together. The broth was broken and separated, the vegetables in it were crunchy and uncooked. It was a mess. I'm not sure what I should have expected, but if you don't have something, just say you don't have it so I can order something else. Don't just throw a bunch of crap into a bowl and expect me to enjoy it. After an hour and a half, we left the Olive Garden. The dipping sauce I ordered was the 4-cheese marinara, and with fresh breadsticks, it was tasty to the point that I could almost consider it a meal. It certainly had more flavor than Verona, which is why I can still say Olive Garden was better. My wife, who wouldn't complain if her hair was on fire, was annoyed to the point that she wrote a complaint email, and Olive Garden sent us a gift card which made up for the meal. So, to summarize, 90 minutes wasted, a horrendous showing in terms of service, but still better than Verona. 3 out of 10. Reviewing another 10 when I check out another 10. If there are any places in or around Conway that you'd like me to review, be sure to leave a comment, and I'll see you when I see you.